Formally welcome you to our call. We're going to start our call as we do all of our calls. Again, my name is Matt Miller from Cincinnati, Ohio. My background is in manufacturing, and you all have shown up. We know that success begins with showing up. So all of us on this call can say our mission that we are part. I am part of a growing team of entrepreneurs with a shared mission to protect and empower 2 million new families and small business owners with Legal Shield's network of law firms and world-class identity theft services. What we do matters, and we are truly looking for help. And it's important for us all to memorize this and personalize it so we can use it when it's appropriate. And with that, I have the great honor and privilege to introduce our next person on the call, who is a speaker. She's an author, she's a coach, and an awesome person. Miss Lynn Schuster-Williams, the call is yours.
Thank you so much, Matt Miller. What an awesome job you do checking us all in and getting our call started. If everyone could please turn off your cameras, that means the stop video button. We'd appreciate it. It helps us on our Facebook Live to be able to see our speakers and not watch you scratch your nose and things like that. So I get to be our story facilitator tonight. And I'm excited for you to hear the stories. I'm going to, remind us all that stories are so important to our business, and that for new people, you have the stories of other people who've come before to borrow from until you have your own from you and your team. But at the same time, veterans get to hear news stories and tell news stories all the time because we share them. So this is an ongoing process in our business, and I encourage you to have pen and paper ready to jot down who said it and the gist of the story, and it'll help you remember it and be able to repeat it correctly. So first of all, I'm going to go to the Louisville, Kentucky market for a membership story from Mr. Robert Bagley.
Good evening, everyone. This is Robert Bagley, Louisville, Kentucky, retired engineer, author, and entrepreneur. I was driving and there was an annoying tick, tick, tick in my car. And so I took it to the repair shop that we frequent. I talked to the scheduler, Mary, about it. And I talked to her about Legal Shield before. I put her into Prospect by Legal Shield. She hadn't taken it any further, and so every so often we touch base. This time I talked about the exciting addition of the rideshare and delivery supplement. It turns out that Kentucky requires Uber and Lyft drivers to have their vehicles certified, which was very reassuring from me. And they do a lot of certifications at this repair shop. Mary said she'd take a look and pass it on to a couple that came to mind immediately. She also referred me to another shop that does certifications as another source for me to pursue. So with that, back to you, Lynn.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bagley. What a great story, and way to do Legal Shield while you're out, not just go out to do Legal Shield. I love that story. So you took what could have been a negative and turned it around. If everyone could please mute. Actually, I'll just do that for you. There you go. And now I'm going to go up to the Illinois market. Mr. Brian Deli is going to introduce a new associate, Ms. Lupe Morales, and we're going to hear about her early success in her business. Go ahead, Brian.
Thanks, Lynn. Videos are restricted, so just hear my awesome voice. This is Brian Deli from Joliet, Illinois, background business owner, general contractor. I'm really proud to introduce one of my new local partners, Lupe Morales. I'm just going to shoot it right out to you, Lupe. Call is yours.
Hi, I'm Guadalupe Morales. My background is like medical, barbering, a little IT, a little teaching. Brian gave me this wonderful opportunity to join the team, and I took it. I had some welcome calls with Alicia and I forget her name, and another Claudia. No. And so far, I finished Fast Start, Level 1 Business, and CDL. I'm going to take level 2 business, and so far that's all I have. So I'll pass it back to Brian.
Thanks,
for-
Lupe. Appreciate that. And Lynn, thank you very much for giving us an opportunity to share. Back to you.
We love recognizing new associates, and it's great to hear your excitement, and just congratulations on all you're getting done early in your business. And now I am going to stay in the Illinois market, and we're going to hear a twofold story from Annette Zobar. By the way, you can turn your camera on, Annette. They're not turned off as far as I know.
Oh, I stopped the video and it's not doing it. Anyway,
Yeah.
This is Annette Zobar, Plainfield, Illinois, background QuickBooks consulting. Like Lynn said, this is actually 2 membership stories. A little background. My QuickBooks business, AMS Office Solutions, is an S Corp, which means that I, Annette Zobar, am an employee. I receive a W-2 paycheck like any other employee would, and my business pays into unemployment. Earlier this week, I personally received a letter from the unemployment office stating that I had filed a claim against AMS Office Solutions because I had been laid off since March, and funds would begin to be deposited into an account that I did not recognize. This was totally false. I have been working nonstop. I instantly tapped the app, talked to a fraud investigator. Within 2 minutes, she helped me with what I needed to do, things that I would not have been able to figure out on my own. This procedure, as well as filing a police report, took about 30 minutes. The investigator told me that while all was probably now okay with the unemployment office, the identity thieves now had my information, and she advised me on what to do in the future. Story 2. The next day, my business, AMS Office Solutions, received a letter stating that my employee, Annette Zobar, had filed a claim against the company since the company had laid her off. With the letter just out of the envelope, I tapped the app and called my law firm because I have a small business membership. 2 hours later, the business attorney called me back, advised me what to do. In addition to completing the form, I was to send an additional letter stating certain things. He did not want the business's unemployment rate to increase. He had me write everything down and actually repeat it back to him to make sure I had it right. 1 incident and 2 memberships came into play. So glad I was covered. Back to you.
Wow, Annette, that's an incredible story. I'm so glad you were covered too. You know, those are the kinds of stories that just really bring home how grateful we are when we don't have to face that kind of thing alone. Just an incredible, empowering story. So thank you for sharing it, Annette. And now I get the pleasure to turn the call over to 2 leaders on our team who are both incredible women. You've heard about Dani Goeden and her rise to senior director this summer. That has just been a great story. And Leigh Perry, who is a market maker and serves on the Ladies of Justice Subcommittee. The call is yours.
Thank you so much, Lynn. It's so good to be on. Dani Goeden, welcome, welcome. Good to have you on tonight.
Thanks, Leigh. I'm excited.
Well, Dani and I were texting during the APT, and we were so excited that Mr. Drennan asked us to facilitate this evening. Dani, you know, one of the things that makes it so difficult is not to do the training again or try to help the people that weren't there because they can watch it on Facebook Live, but share what you were particularly touched by or what really meant something to you or something that you thought you could really use with this amazing growing team that you've got right now.
Yeah, you know, one of my favorite things that they went over was the member bill of rights. That is something that when it came out, I first started using it to all my members, and I absolutely think it was awesome that they shared this with everybody because it is so important for their members to know for retention purposes what their rights are within the membership. And Leigh, I know that you had said something about Christine Manning really speaking to you. Tell me more about that.
It works better when you're unmuted when you try to start talking. Thanks. You know, she kicked us off talking about her experience as an attorney and why she loves working with Legal Shield. And it was so profound hearing it from her perspective as a professional attorney, why she loves the Legal Shield provider network. And one of the things in particular that she pointed out that not everybody may realize is that a third of our membership every month goes right to our home provider law firm. So depending on how many people in your home state, in Indiana where I am, there's 20,000 or so, our law firm gets $160,000 a month. I know Ross and Matthews in Texas is about a $2 million law firm. So they're prepaid to take care of us. And then she talked about the quality of the attorneys. And it wasn't just statistics coming from her. It was, you know, I've seen this, I know about this, and she shared it back to us. And that our attorneys at our provider law firms have an average experience of 22 years, but 18 with the firms where they are at the time. And then the other thing that I really appreciated hearing from her was about the Net Promoter Score, and that the average for all law firms is a 25, and Legal Shield more than doubles that with 53. But the one everybody that I think can relate to is our membership statistic about customer satisfaction with our law firms is 86%, Dani. I mean, that's huge in any organization, but especially when it comes to talking to attorneys. So what we'd like to do now is open it up. And Dani, I think you wanted somebody to model that behavior for us, because what we're going to ask people to do is get their phones out and set their timers for 30 seconds to share what their top thought or top item that they learned from APT this weekend. And I think you had somebody in particular you wanted to model that behavior for us.
Yes, indeed I do. I think that the best person to model this behavior and share a quick 30-second testimonial about APT would be none other than our mentor, our leader, our wonderful Millionaire Club member, Mr. John Drennan. John, are you there? Can you share some comments with us?
Yeah, I am, and I wasn't ready for that. So I want to share a little bit historical real quickly. This is John Drennan in New Hampshire. I'm in my 23rd year in the business, and we used to do APT events live on a quarterly basis and did that for a long time and got away from doing that. So from a kind of global perspective, what I love is the fact that this was an opportunity to update people on the product. An example you already mentioned was the Bill of Rights, something not talked about previously when we used to do the advanced product trainings. And so this to me was a much needed across the board update for people in terms of what our memberships offer, but what are some of the auxiliary things that go along with it, like the Bill of Rights. So I'm really glad they did it, and I'm really glad you two are doing this tonight. Back to you, Dani.
Awesome. Those are some great comments. I absolutely love that you came on. Thank you so much. Leigh, what do you say we open it up to the room?
I think that would be great, Dani. And so who's got their timer set for 30 seconds and wants to make a bullet point about what was important to them this weekend on the advanced product training? Who's ready to share?
Hey, Leigh, how you doing? Jason Wardell here, Chicago, Illinois. I am driving right now through Indianapolis, heading home from Atlanta. One of the things that I picked up from the advanced product trainings is one of the statistics that they alluded to that determines the success rate as far as 10x multipliers when it comes to how many memberships and how many associates people recruit by participating in an advanced product training. For what I was told, I believe it's 13 times more memberships are sold and like 17 times more people are brought on board as associates from merely attending the advanced product training. Back to you, Leigh.
Thanks so much, Jason, and thanks for coming on while you're driving. Please be safe on the road, amigo. Okay, who else is ready to share with us? Dani?
Hey, I want to call on somebody, and he may not be prepared for this, but hey, Alan, are you on the call? I know that you are a brand new associate and attended the advanced product training. I kind of want to hear what your thoughts were as a new associate. We've heard some veterans speak. So, Alan, are you there?
Yes, Danny, I'm here. Kind of got me off guard there for a minute. What can I say? I mean, it's just been overwhelming. I mean, excited. You know, I just honestly I didn't have any goals as far as how far I could take this business to, and it just I guess plug and play, right? It's the wonderful people there behind it, like Dani, coaching me and helped me all the way. Like, I mean, we always joke about it, that she always answered my call no matter what time I call. Never got to hear her voicemail, but one time. And and I'm excited, you know. And as far as this last call, you know, it was pretty interesting. And I like the end what he was showing about the app. It says, "What did your attorney says? Tap the app." I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm gonna try that out.
That's awesome, Alan. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else want to speak up and share something in 30 seconds that they got out of APT?
Hey, Danny, Mike Thompson.
Oh, Mike Thompson, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, just the fact that they brought the APT back, that was a staple for many years. I'm glad it's back.
Absolutely. What do you say to that, Leigh? Have you ever attended an APT before now?
I have, and as a matter of fact, I had looked at my notes. It really helped my belief in the product. It really helped me understand, you know, I didn't know that we had a contract with our law firms until I went to an APT. And that really helped me understand that it's completely spelled out in that contract what they do and don't do and how they handle situations. And anytime we get into a concern with a member or with an associate's member, it's important to go to the contract first. And the APT is where I learned about that. Dani, I think Bridget Paquette Parker looked like she was about ready to share something. Bridget?
Ooh, go Bridget.
Yes, one thing that I thought was so interesting too, and I do this, but a lot of new people might not know this, is to put your memberships in the retention so that way they have a constant drip from you all the time. Back to you, Leigh and Dani.
And I'm assuming
great way to model that behavior too. She only took 12 seconds.
No, love it. And I'm assuming you're talking about the campaign in your Prospect by Legal Shield membership retention.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Just wanted to make sure.
Penny Manning, Trenton, Michigan. I was not familiar at all with the life stages, and to hear about all the different levels that were available to share with folks, it's like everybody could be part of that, you know. And then the other thing real quickly was the licensed states. I had to have licenses for Texas and Illinois, and that's gone away now, and I'm really glad of that. Back to you.
Thanks so much, Penny. Appreciate your comments. It looks like Steve Beck's ready to share.
I'm ready and no timer needed. The biggest nugget for me came very early in the APT. Christine Manning said that Legal Shield is your primary care physician for legal services. And that was absolutely amazing to me. You can sum up in one sentence what we do. Beautiful.
You stole my closing quote, Steve.
And I don't know if you guys noticed the chat, but she was responding to the chat as the other speakers were going. And she kept saying, anytime there was a question about what if there's someone who's taking care of disabled siblings, or what if there's someone whose mom is their dependent, and she kept referring back to the healthcare analogy, that think in terms of medical insurance and who's covered on your insurance policy. Your folks aren't, your siblings aren't, so they need their own Legal Shield policy as well. Dani, anybody else ready to share with us today?
Robert?
I think Robert Bagley wanted to share with us.
Yeah, the thing that hit me most was the statement by Josh Lockhart that he didn't really get going until he was asked, when are you going to do a presentation? And that hit me between the eyes. So I've started to refine a presentation. And I'm going to avoid those feature dumps, as he called it. Back to you.
I love it. Thank you, Robert. Yeah, I agree. Doing the presentation really does change your mindset, because when you're presenting, at least for me, when I'm presenting, I'm like, I better be doing what I'm actually talking about, right? Because you just don't want to tell people stories and sharing success stories if you're not doing it too.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Dani. Anybody else have something that they want to share? Did anybody happen to pay particularly close attention when Rob Hurst did the ID Shield presentation? I found that extremely helpful because he went into detail about some of the changes and some of the differences and some of the additional benefits that we have now.
I want to share on that just a little. When he had a friend ask him, he kept mentioning that he talked to a friend about ID Shield, and he says, oh, no, 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 no. Well, then his friend said that they had gotten LifeLock, and they said that they had paid $30 for just himself, $30 for his wife, and $5 for per child, and they had 4. So right then, Mr. Hurst said, believe it or not, we can outweigh that price, and that's for sure. And then he got a call from his friend to have him get ID Shield.
Yeah, good point, Bridget. And folks, it's important that you know how we rank with that. You know, we're the only organization that covers everybody for that low price, which is pretty impressive. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Bridget, that he said that he was able to protect the family with Legal Shield as well for the same price that he was going to pay for LifeLock, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yes.
So folks, it's definitely worth going back to. Dani, I know we have some announcements and some wrap up. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing?
You know, I just kind of want to reiterate what Steve said. Legal Shield is like primary care physicians for law. That is really important for you guys to understand, that it is so important to know who we cover, how we cover it. And, you know, like I'm going to be able to cover my son on my medical insurance for life because he's disabled. And I will also be able to cover him in my Legal Shield plan because he's disabled. So that's just something that touches my heart every time, because it's just, you know, it's close to home. Any closing comments from you, Leigh?
Well, and it's personal, and that's what makes the difference for all of us when we're sharing this with the folks that we want to help protect, right? Because it's all about the mission, not the commission. We want to help protect the folks that we know and love, and the folks we haven't met yet that are our friends, right?
Absolutely.
Well, Dani,
All
thanks
right.
so much for sharing some time this evening. And folks, we appreciate you coming on. And Mr. Drennan, thanks for the opportunity. And Dani, do you have the announcements, or do we need to go back to Lynn for that?
I believe we go back to Miss Lynn Schuessler-Williams for that.
Look at that. And you just say her name. It's just like magic. There she is.
Thanks so much, you guys. What a great job you all did facilitating that conversation. I can't wait to watch that training now. I was not one of the people who got to see it yesterday, but I'm looking forward to catching up, and you all really made me want to see it. So thank you for that. I want to just wrap things up with a few announcements, and then we have a video. So bear with me through these and we'll get you right to the cool stuff. So remember that this is the last week of the month. We have just this week left to get our October business done. So pay attention, be plugged in. The leadership show came on tonight at 7. It's on live stream, and it's again tomorrow at 11 Eastern. And you got your associate newsletter in your email today. So take a look at that. Always read through that to be up to speed with what's going on. It's a great idea to be plugged in to several Facebook groups, the Team Ascent group, the Legal Shield Associate Support group, our primary, and then of course the Ladies of Justice Facebook group has lots of great information and ideas in it. And the really important place for our team to be plugged in is the Success Partners calendar. And such a big thank you to Alice Englehart, who keeps us all organized on that calendar and keeps us going with our Sunday night team call stories. So remember that if you have a story you want to share on the Sunday call, you get it to Alice, and the instructions on how to do that are successpartnerscalendar.com. And remember too, that if you have a story and you're at a training on a Saturday and you want to get it in on the next Sunday call, you need to get it to Alice before 8 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. And so we have some upcoming team Zooms this week to help you close the month strong. So tomorrow I'm going to be doing the 12:30 membership overview, and Dani Goeden is going to be doing the 8 p.m. membership and opportunity overview. And all week long, you have top leaders from our team there to help you get the information in front of your folks and close them for the month. And remember, our Wednesday training Zoom is coming up. It'll be 9:10 p.m. Eastern is when we start the music. So be sure that you're tuning in early for the great music that our in-house DJ, Steve Beck, has been bringing. Thank you so much, Steve. And so with that, I'm going to ask Mr. Beck to stop our Facebook Live and